What's up, guys? It is Corey and Christian from SuperKamiGuru9000, and we just got done watching the brand new One Piece film, One Piece Film Z. And I gotta say, it was a pretty exciting movie. It had a lot of really interesting elements to it. And after watching it, it actually seems like it could be a canon story for the actual series itself. And we're just gonna give you our collective thoughts on what we liked about the movie, maybe some stuff we didn't like, maybe some things they could improve upon. But first and foremost, this movie was just really, really fun, and it was a joy to watch. And it definitely gives a great excuse as to why anime is the format and it's in, because it's just a feast for the eyes. You know, just the backgrounds of everything that's going on in this movie, the sunsets, the ocean, all the giant buildings, the huge volcano, everything. It all really breathed a lot of life into this movie, and it made it really seem like a big living world. If I only had one complaint about the world itself, is that, you know, like most other anime movies, there's some side characters that just aren't designed as well, like the Marines.
The basic Marine.
They all just sort of look the same, wearing the same outfit, and there's maybe a few characters with a slight difference to them, but still, that's just nitpicking. Overall, the whole film itself is gorgeous, and it has a really, really interesting story, which opens up with our titular character, Z, which is actually short for Zephyr. I was kind of hoping it would actually be related to Dragon Ball Z in some sense, but apparently that's not the friggin' case here. But apparently Zephyr is this huge badass. He's a Navy admiral, isn't he?
Yes, he's a Navy admiral that was a hardcore Marine for a long time until a pirate ends up killing his family. Z ends up going off the deep end because they end up making the pirate that killed his family the very first warlord. And he just sees this as a huge contradiction and ends up going off on a warpath and is now the leader of the new Navy, or the Neo-Navy, which is kind of just a nice way to say Nazi Navy. You know, and they actually all look kind of like Nazis. If you look at their helmets, they all kind of have the very German sort of
I didn't even notice that until you actually mentioned that.
Yeah,
they do have those sort of like World War II-esque German, Nazi helmets.
When you need bad guys, you make them Nazis. That's what you do.
And you always give them that Neo term. Japan loves putting Neo on stuff, doesn't they?
All over the place. Neon Genesis. Or Neo-Genesis.
But the other thing with Zephyr is this is a movie, so he has to have a complicated plan. It involves these things known as the Dyna Stones or the Dyna Rocks, which at the end of the day are essentially these like Easter eggs that are contained within these like Jurassic Park tubes.
Yeah.
And they explode. They're really, really big explosions, and they're like weapons that are never supposed to be used. Robin actually brings this up because she's, you know, the book of knowledge about everything. Yeah. She brings up the Dyna Rocks. You should never use those. They're restricted in certain areas. And Z has this plan where there are these three fault lines or these three giant volcanoes that he plans on blowing up. And if he blows up all three, there's going to be this giant chain reaction that will basically cause the ocean to just explode. And like he literally says this, pretty much every pirate in the New World will burn to death. And I think that's a little ridiculous. I don't think that's how it actually happened. But it's a pretty heinous plan because even Okaji is like, whoa, you shouldn't be doing this shit, bro. Did we mention that Okaji is actually in this?
Yes, Okaji is in this, and the Straw Hats end up seeing him at a hot spring in the beginning of the movie.
It's ironic.
Yes, it is kind of because he's the ice guy. And we end up seeing the extent of his battle that he had and how he's covered in scars now. His leg is now, he uses his abilities to like make an ice leg, an ice shin, and an ice foot.
Nice touch.
Yeah. And it was cool to see him interact with the Straw Hats in a non-threatening way. And it's cool to just see some development with that character. And kind of a preview for what he'll probably be like when we get back to the, whether or not this is canon, that's up for discussion. But when we actually get to him in the true story, when, you know, the manga progresses that far, it's going to be cool to see him.
So because Okaji is in this, we have to have a little preview with Akainu as well. And there is this really cool scene where all the admirals and a few Navy members are sitting down and they're discussing how they're going to deal with Z. And you can clearly see that Akainu is sitting at the head of the table, and the whole time his whole face is covered up. They're just not going to let us see his face. And this is strange because we know this is Akainu. Why are they hiding it from this? Obviously, him and Okaji had some crazy battle on that island, and we haven't seen what's happened to him yet. Obviously, Okaji lost his leg. He has scars all over him. Akainu's got to be one fucked up son of a bitch. I mean, I don't know what, you know, the ice could have done to a lava man, but that's going to be really, really interesting to see. And, you know, obviously I'm sure they'll get back into that in the manga.
You know, something that just popped into my head, you know how his fist came down and it started a fire? Maybe he doesn't have an arm, just like Okaji doesn't have a leg.
That'd be pretty cool too.
Yeah,
he'd be able to like maybe form like lava fists or lava. You know, before he could kind of do that in a way, but now it's like maybe he could replace his limbs with that. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe as part of his face, is literally like oozing lava. That would be really cool.
There's something really cool going on there, obviously, and that's why they're not showing it. They're saving it for the real storytelling parts of One Piece.
All right, but that's a small part of this film. Like we said, Z has this very convoluted plan. He's going to these different places, and inadvertently, he's going to run into our heroes, which do make their way into this film. And I just want to say I love the way they look. They're really, really goofy. Every single movie tends to give them a lot of costumes, and they go through a big wardrobe change throughout the entire movie. I think like they go through 3 different costume changes.
I think 3 sounds right.
And right in the beginning of the movie, you know, Frankie, I don't know why, he's wearing all this like cherry stuff and all this like pink afros, and so is Brooke. And they're just
actually Frankie rides his costume out all the way till the very end.
Actually, yeah, except for the final battle, but for the most part, he's pretty much always got that pink wig on. Chopper's in this like crazy like cow outfit. Nami is just, you know, in a bikini because we need Nami in a bikini.
That's what she does.
You know, everybody's there, and essentially it leads up to the point where they find Z like floating in the ocean because he just had this huge battle with Kizaru on this island, which the battle with Kizaru was fucking insane. And I didn't know how it worked at first because it looked like, you know, Z was literally going fisticuffs right with Kizaru.
Yeah.
Because he has this giant robotic arm, and
we haven't even talked about his character design.
And, you know, his robotic arm serves a double purpose. Not only is it just really awesome looking and really powerful, but apparently it's made out of those sea stones, which allow you to negate the ability of devil fruit users. So this is perfect when he's fighting up against Akainu. He's able to actually hit him. When he's actually fighting against Luffy and other devil fruit users, he can physically hit them. And I do like the fact that Luffy even brought up, wow, that hurt like a motherfucker. So this is definitely a really powerful opponent for him. And to make matters worse, he's also a hockey user. He can use the armament hockey. He can turn like his arm black and everything.
He actually uses that quite a bit. Not to get too ahead of ourselves, but that character is really badass with the armament hockey. And just actually getting to see hockey get used on a more regular level is something I'm really excited about with the One Piece series in general.
So every single Shonen Jump movie has the villain, and the villain always has their henchmen, which are usually really, really well designed. They have cool powers. Z has 2 subordinates in this movie. He has this one ninja guy who is just goofy as fuck looking. He's wearing pink. He's really, really gangly. He has like these weird like Dr. Seuss arms and shit. It's really crazy. And he has this really cool devil fruit ability. He's able to control plants. And he's able to like summon these vines up from the ground and everything. And Christian, you made a very good point when we were watching the movie. Why did they not make him fight against Usopp, who also has the ability to like summon those plants?
They don't even interact. Do you think the 2 plant guys would want to have like a plan off? You know, they both have their Venus flytraps, bite each other and shit. But like that could have been a really epic fight, which I think was a missed opportunity. But you also said, but what about if Usopp shoots a plant at him and then he can just control it?
That's true. I mean, since this guy does have the ability to control plants, theoretically he could probably stop that. But still, it would have been interesting to see, at least to acknowledge that, but ultimately he's a hand-to-hand fighter, so he ends up fighting against Sanji, which is a really cool battle towards the end of the film. You know, he does, of course, a kick move to finish him off, slams him into the earth and everything, all Dragon Ball Z style. And speaking of Dragon Ball Z style, we got to mention the other henchman, which is this female, and she also has another devil fruit ability where she's able to regress things by their age by like 12 years. I guess that's like the specific thing here, and this can be used in a number of different ways. And you know, spoiler alert, obviously in this movie she uses this ability on Nami and a few other characters, Robin and Chopper, and hilariously enough even Brooke. And she's able to basically regress their ages. Nami becomes a little girl again. Brooke, his ass gets a little smaller apparently. You'll know what I mean when you watch the movie.
That's a whole nother scene. The transformation scenes.
Robin, you know, doesn't fill out as much, and then Chopper gets really, really teeny. But this ability can be used in other ways. She's actually fighting against Zoro in this because she uses knives. And in this battle, she demonstrates she can like touch rocks, and the rocks turn back into lava, so they're like immediately about to fall down on top of Zoro. So the abilities are used pretty cool, and the fights with them are really great. I think the best thing about the fights, though, is the way they use the camera. Like the way they like move around.
Circular shots, and like Z especially, whenever he's like ramming people with his big robotic arm, like the camera likes to spin around him. And just like you were saying earlier, the budget is obviously there for this movie because the quality is just amazing. These aren't cheap, dizzy shots. These are like beautiful looking shots with lots of people on screen, and they're all flying around. And
they seemingly never stop. Like there's a lot of fight scenes in this movie. Like it really takes it doesn't take its time too much, but with these Shonen Jump movies, we got to remember they are based on battle mangas, and it is great to see these action scenes. And this one it goes crazy with it all the time.
So, like, going to the final battle when we get to actually Luffy fighting Z and Luffy actually have 3 fights in this whole movie. 3 fights. It's kind of
all of them awesome.
Yeah, all of them are really good. The first one happens on Sunny, so it's kind of like small and they can't do too much or else they'll blow up the whole ship. And then the second one is Luffy getting his ass kicked when he gets, like, pwned by the arm. We also didn't mention the arm has, like, a berserk-type cannon installed on it.
Yeah.
So, like, you grab a Devil Fruit user, and then, of course, they can't do anything because of the cannon sea stone, so they're getting crushed by this hand, and then they get, like, berserk cannon to the face, you know? So Luffy gets defeated on that front, and then Z actually takes his hat, which is just an excuse to get your ass beat by Luffy.
Yeah.
And then the third battle is for Luffy to get his hat back. And with that battle, it's great. You know, of course, Luffy ends up breaking off his robot arm, and they just end up going fisticuffs with the armament hockey. And that's honestly some of the best parts and what the movie just gets boiled down to, an awesome fist fight.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. A fist fight between a rubber dude and a robot man fighting in a volcano. That's just... I don't like using this word because it gets used a lot, but yeah, this was pretty damn epic. And, you know, there are some things that happen at the end involving Zephyr that I don't want to give away. I think you guys should definitely see that for yourself.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the Straw Hat story is done in this one, and I think it ends on a good note. And it's just a really fun, good action One Piece film. You know, I liked it a little bit more than Strong World, which I do applaud Strong World for trying to incorporate like a character from Impel Down into the movie. Mm-hmm. But this one just felt a little more natural in some senses to me. I don't know. It didn't feel as shoehorned in. No,
it didn't feel shoehorned in at all. Like, again, if this is canon, I believe it. And if it wasn't, I'd be like, well, at least it made sense, you know? Mm-hmm. So I really enjoyed this movie. Yeah. I think that if you guys are One Piece fans and you can get it before it comes out on DVD through whatever online means, go get it and go watch it. It's a very, very good movie. And I'm sure it's going to look great on Blu-ray.
I mean, if only to see Usopp with a giant red mustache looking like Yosemite Sam. That was hilarious. And gosh,
or the transformation scene. That would be enough for some Blu-ray right there. Mm-hmm. You guys look out for that transformation scene. I'm good giving this movie like a 9.5.
Definitely. It does have some minor flaws, but overall, the whole package, One Piece fans won't be disappointed. Action anime fans won't be disappointed. It's just really awesome.
So go check it out. Anyway, guys, if you like the review, make sure to give us a thumbs up. We always appreciate it. And until next time, SuperKamiGuru9000, out.
Hey, and if you guys want to see more movie reviews, remember, me and Christian are reviewing every single Dragon Ball Z movie in honor of the release of the brand new Dragon Ball Z Battle of the Gods. We're getting ready to release our brand new review of our favorite Dragon Ball Z film, Cooler's Revenge, so make sure and look for that very soon.